students, in this video lecture you will understand about synchronous sequential circuit. The content of this video, first you will understand the basics of the flip-flops, registers, how to design a sequential circuits, and the design example, one design examples we will discuss on counters. Okay. So basically, like what you have understood so far in the previous model is about combinational circuits. So the difference between combinational circuits and sequential circuits you need to understand. So so if you see a combinational circuits, you will be having an input, set of input and set of outputs, and you will have the output depending only on the input. Okay. So the current combination of the input will give you the certain output. That is about the combinational circuit. Whereas sequential circuits, you will be having the memory also. So the output at any time not only depend on the current input, but it also depend on the previous output. The previous output is saved in the memory, and that will be acting as one of the input to the combinational circuit. So this entire block what you are seeing here will form the sequential circuit. So the difference you need to understand it clearly. Here in combinational circuit, the output at any time depends only on the present combination of the input. Whatever the input is changing at currently, that alone will reflect the output. Whereas in sequential circuit, the output not only depends upon the present input, which is here, it also depends upon the previous output. So how do I say it is depending on the previous output? Because there is a memory which is saving the previous output, and this is adding to the feedback for the combinational circuit. Okay, so the basic difference, if you want to compare the difference between combinational circuit and sequential circuit, the first and foremost thing what you need to understand is the output is determined by the first present value of its input only for the combinational circuit, whereas in sequential circuit the output is determined by the present value of the input as well as the past value of the output. That is the first thing. And in combinational circuit you did not have any memory at all. Whereas in sequential circuit you will be having a memory. You will see the second point here. Sequential circuit will be having a memory and a feedback path from output to the input that is present in the sequential circuit. Whereas combinational circuit does not have memory and it does not have any feedback path from output to the input. And in combinational circuit, its operation can be described by a truth table only. Whereas here in sequential circuit, you can describe the operation by truth table and also by the timing diagram. Combinational circuits will not be having any clock pulses, whereas sequential circuits will be having the clock pulses. And therefore, as it is not having any clock pulses, combinational circuit does not depend on the clock transition, whereas sequential circuits will be depending on the clock transition. Okay, so the circuit is simpler than that of the sequential logic circuit. Whereas sequential circuit is more complex than that of the combinational circuit. So like combination circuit can be built using the basic building blocks, NOT gate, AND, NOR and everything. Whereas sequential circuits will be using basic gates and also the memory which is a flip-flops. Okay. So example of the combinational circuits are what you have seen so far: adder, subtractor, multiplexer, demultiplexer, decoder, comparator. Here in sequential circuit we will be understanding the example of flip-flops, counters and shift registers. Okay. So let us go to the title directly. So the basic building block of any sequential circuit is the flip-flop. Okay. So what is this flip-flop? Flip-flop is nothing but a 1-bit memory storage. So it will be saving only 1 bit at a time. It may be either binary 1 or it may be either binary 0. Okay. So we will say the flip-flop is set when it is saving binary 1. Okay, and we will say the flip-flop is a reset when it is saving binary 0. So there are two combinations, binary 1 and binary 0. Either it will so the one single flip-flop can save only one binary number. It may be either binary 1 or binary 0. Whenever binary 1 it is saving, we call the flip-flop is in the set state. Binary 0 it is saving, we call the flip-flop is in the reset state. Okay, so the types of the flip-flop which you are having in your syllabus are SR flip-flop, D flip-flop, JK flip-flops and T flip-flops. Okay, so we will see one by one flip-flop. When we are discussing on the flip-flops, we will be discussing the various points related to first construction of the flip-flop. Okay, then you will understand the working with truth table, and you will also understand what is called as an excitation table. As I told you, we are going to see only 4 flip-flops: SR flip-flop, D flip-flop, JK flip-flop and T flip-flop. For all the 4 flip-flops, we will start with construction, working with we will understand the working with the truth table example, and we will go with the excitation table also. So let us start with the SR flip-flop. As you all know, NAND gate and NOR gate is also called as a universal gate, because any kind of circuit can be constructed using NAND and NOR gates only. Okay, so here in all the 4 flip-flops, I will be teaching you with only NAND gates alone. So you carefully watch how I am going to construct this flip-flop. As we know that all the sequential circuit, we are talking about the sequential circuit. So all the sequential circuit will be having a clock pulse. Okay, so the important difference between the combinational circuit and sequential circuit is, combinational circuit will not be having any clock pulse, whereas sequential circuit will be having the clock pulse. This is very important difference. So whenever you are designing a sequential circuit, you have to introduce the clock pulse. Okay, so you carefully understand how I am constructing the SR flip-flop only using the NAND gate circuit. Okay, so you'll be having, so as the name implies SR, I want to tell you one more thing. This type of flip-flop, 4 types I told you, no. Here SR flip-flop means that there are 2 input to the flip-flop, S and R. D flip-flop in the sense only 1 input, which is D. JK flip-flop, 2 input, J, 1 input is J, another input is K. T flip-flop, only 1 input, that is T. Okay, so SR flip-flop will be having 2 input. One is S input, another one is R input. So S input is given to one single NAND gate. Okay, R input is given to another NAND gate. So you carefully watch how I am constructing this flip-flop. So this is S input, this is R input, and as we know, we will be having a clock pulse which is triggering all the sequential circuit. Here S and R are connected together. Other input of the NAND gate from the S and R, call it as in NAND gate 1, NAND gate 2, connected together to a clock pulse. Okay, and then this is given to a circuit called latch. The latch will be like this. As we all know, we will be having the output also adding as a present input. So it's like this. Okay, so this is the first output Q. This is the complementary output Q bar. Q is the output and Q bar is the complementary output of the Q. Okay, so this portion what you are having is called as a latch. We will discuss on the latch. The difference between latch and flip-flop is, latch will work without clock, whereas flip-flop, latch is also a memory which stores a 1 bit without clock pulses, whereas flip-flop is a memory which store only 1 bit but with the clock pulses. Okay, so we will discuss on the latch more when we are coming for the asynchronous sequential circuit. As we are seeing synchronous sequential circuit, synchronous clock is very important. So here we are drawing a clock. Okay, so this S and R is driven to the latch, and from the latch only we are getting the output Q and Q bar. Okay, now as I was telling you about the 2 different circuit, let me also give you one basic difference. See, when we are talking on sequential circuits, okay, when you are talking on sequential circuits, there are 2 types of sequential circuit. One is synchronous sequential circuit, another one is asynchronous sequential circuit. So as we all know that the synchronous sequential circuit will be always having the clock. Okay, so in synchronous sequential circuit, if clock is universal or if the clock is common to all the gates and flip-flops in the circuit is common, then we call it as a synchronous sequential circuit. Whereas clock is uncommon, then it comes under the asynchronous sequential circuit. Okay, so now initially we are seeing only everything is synchronous. In this module you will understand only synchronous sequential circuit. So as I told you, the clock is common, so we are tying up S and R clock together to an universal clock. Okay. So now let us understand how this SR flip-flop is working. So for that you need to understand the basic NAND gate. So what is this basic NAND gate operation? Basic NAND gate operation will tell you whenever any input is 0, the output is 1. Okay. Whenever any input is 0, the output is 1. So you just see, say for example, if you are having two input NAND gate, A and B are the input and this is the output. So A and B having 4 combinations 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. You will have the NAND gate output is 1, 1, 1, 0. It means that whenever any one input, either A or B is 0, then in these three cases you are having the output is 1. When both the input are high, then only the output is low. So we are going to understand the concept of the flip-flop by this statement. Whenever any input is 0, the output is 1. And here the job of the clock is whenever the clock is high or clock is low, it depends. Okay. I will discuss more on the clock pulse in the later session also. So let us assume that it is a positive clock pulse. So it means that whenever the clock is high, the flip-flop will be triggering. Triggering in the sense that any changes in the input will give the respective changes in the output. So let us assume always the clock is high for all our operation and we will go one by one. Okay. So for that, here in this latch, you are having the output which is connected to the input also. So when you are writing the truth table, you are not only going to write the truth table with respect to the S, R as an input and Q as an output. You will also write the truth table by having the Q as an input, which you call it as a present state, and Q plus as an output, which is called it as a next state. Okay. So here you have to understand there is a state of the flip-flop. State in the sense present clock pulse. What is the output? We call it as a present state. In the next clock pulse, what is the output? We call it as a next state. Okay. So let us say clock pulse 0 corresponds to present state. The next clock pulse is clock pulse 1 will correspond to the next state. So when we are doing the truth table, we will be writing with respect to present state and next state. Present state output will be represented as Q. Next state output will be represented as Q plus. Q and Q plus. Okay. So now we will go to the truth table and understand the operation and draw the truth table. So for our clarification, let me redraw the SR flip-flop here so that we need not go back to that slide. So it is very easy only. You can draw NAND gate like this. Connect the first and second NAND gate together and call it as a clock. First NAND gate input is S, second NAND gate input is R, and the output of the first upper side is Q, the lower side is Q bar. Q bar is nothing but complement of Q. Okay, complement in the sense not of Q. Q bar is nothing but not of Q, not operation of Q. And this Q is connected to the input of the fourth NAND gate. Q bar is connected to the input to the third NAND gate. Call it as 3 and 4. Okay. Now to write the truth table, as I have told you, truth table of the flip-flop will be having input and the present state. Okay, output and the next state. So here present state is Q, input is S and R, and the next state is Q plus. And you can also write Q bar plus, Q plus and Q bar plus. There is no output, only next state is there. Okay, so this in present state input S and R, two inputs are there, one present state are there, totally 3 combination. So this 3 combination will give you 8 possible inputs. So it is 0 0 0, 0 0 1, 0 1 0, 0 1 1, 1 0 0, 101, 110, 111. Okay, so these combinations are possible. So now let us say S and R are 0 and 0. Okay, so you carefully watch here. When S is 0 and R is 0, what will happen? As I told you, any input to the NAND gate is 0, the output will be 1. So now S is 0, so the output of the NAND gate 1 is also 1. R is also 0, output of the NAND gate 2 is also 1. Okay, so input to the flip-flop 3 is 1, flip-flop 1 input to the flip-flop 3 is 1, another input to the flip-flop 4 is also 1. Now to determine the next output, you need to know what is the current state. Okay, because with 1 you have no idea whether the output will be 0 or it may be 1. You can see here in NAND gate, if any input is 1, it can be either 1 or 0 depending upon the other input. So if any input is 1, if the other input is 0, you will be having 1. If any input is 1, other input is also 1, you will be having 0. So by having the knowledge of one input, you cannot predict what will be the output of the NAND gate. Okay, so you want to know what is the other input also. So other, you say for example, we will start with the bottom gate 4. Gate 4 is having the other input is Q. Okay, so now we are working for the first row of the truth table. Q is 0. So if Q is 0, what will happen? Obviously the output will be 1. So Q plus bar will be 1. This 1 will come to input of the 3. So 1 and 1 combination will give you the output as 0. Okay, so please understand, when S is 0 and R is 0, S is 0, R is 0. As we know the rule of the NAND gate, any one input is 0, output is 1. Directly without knowing what is the other input, we can say output is 1. So I am writing 1 here. But we cannot now directly write what is the current output, because if one input is 1, we have to wait for the other input. Then only we can say what is the output. So already from the truth table we know Q is 0. So if you know Q is 0, Q is connected to the fourth NAND gate. So if the other input is 0, then we know the output is 1. Okay, so if the output is 1, it means that Q plus bar is 1. This 1 will go here. So 1 and 1, the output will be 0. Okay, so this completes the first row of the truth table. Now similarly you can also understand the fifth row of the truth table. Fifth row of the truth table is having both S and R is 0, 0 as usual. S is 0, R is 0. Here you will be having 1, here you will be having 1. But now Q is 1. Q is 1. Fourth gate will have both the inputs are 1 and 1. So Q bar will be 0. Q bar will be 0. The 0 will act as an input to the gate 3. So the Q will be 1. Okay. Now let us see the second combination. S is 0, R is 1. So when S is 0, R is 1, what is happening? S is 0. Okay. R is 1. What will happen? S is 0, automatically, obviously, one input is 0, the output will be 1. Here, clock already we have understood, clock is always triggering. So, 1 and 1 will give you 0 combination. So, output of the flip-flop, output of the NAND gate 1 is 1, output of the NAND gate 2 is 0. Now, we are sure at least one input is 0 of the fourth NAND gate. Therefore, we can directly write Q bar is 1. Okay. When Q bar is 1, the input to the NAND gate 3, both the inputs are 1 and 1. So it will give you answer is 0. Okay. So when S is 0, R is 1, it is completely independent of the present state. It is always giving you Q is 0 and Q bar is 1. So what you can do, you can write here Q is 0, Q bar is 1. Both for 001 combination and 101 combination. Why? Because here when we are deriving this state example, we understood that it is not depending upon the present state. Okay. Whenever S is 0, the top NAND gate is giving you 1, the bottom NAND gate is giving you 0. So now the fourth NAND gate output is 1 because one input is 0. So this output will be 1. and this 1 and 1 combination gives you output is 0. It is not at all depending upon what is the present state. So directly for this combination and this combination, you will directly write it as 0 and 1 and 0 and 1 respectively. Let us see the third combination, that is S is 1, R is 0, Q is 0. So now this top input is 1, bottom input is 0. Now obviously what will happen? 1 and 1 combination, AND gate output of 1 AND gate is 0. 0 and 1 combination, here you will be having 1. Now you are sure that NAND gate 3 at 1 input is 0. So obviously the output will be 1. Okay. And then this output is deriving the NAND gate 4. So 1 and 1 will give you the answer is 0. So here again what is happening? When S is 1, R is 0, it is directly giving you Q is 1 and Q bar is 0. It is not at all depending upon the present state. Okay. So this will be 1 and this is 0 for this combination, and also for here also you are having S is 1, R is 0 combination. So this will be 1 and this is 0. And finally we will check the next thing, 0 1 1. 0 1 1. S is also 1, R is also 1. What will happen? What will happen? Then first output of the first NAND gate is also 0. Output of the second NAND gate will also be 0. What will happen? As you know, any one input of the NAND gate is 0, the output is 1. So here it says Q is also 1, Q bar is also 1. So this Q is 1, Q bar is 1. It is called as an indeterminate state. Why I call it as an indeterminate state? Because we all know that Q bar is the complement of Q. So whenever in all these combinations you can see, when Q is 0, Q bar is complement of Q. Yeah, every combination you see, Q is 0, Q bar is complement of Q. But for this combination, Q and Q bar take the same value of 1 and 1. So we call it as an indeterminate state. Okay. Indeterminate state. So this should not actually happen. So 1 and 1. So here again, independent of the present state, it is giving only 1 and 1. So you can see 1 and 1, 1 and 1. Output of the first flip-flop is, output of the first NAND gate is also 0. Output of the second NAND gate is also 0. It is independent whether value of the Q. It is directly giving you output of the Q is also 1. Output of the Q bar is also 1. So here also you are having indeterminate state. Indeterminate in the sense we did not know, we are not sure about the output. This is not a reliable output. So we should not have this particular combination at all. Can you understand? So this is an unused combination in the SR flip-flop. Whenever you are using SR flip-flop, you have to ensure that both S and R is not set to 1. Okay. Now from this, what are the things you can understand? You please understand here. As I told you, whenever the flip-flop is saving 1, it is said to be in set state. Okay. For 1, reset state for 0. That is what S and R implies. S in the sense state set, R in the sense reset. So you see here, whenever S is 0, R is 1, it means that reset. Reset in the sense output is 0. Output is 0, it is saving 0. Here also you see this combination, S is 0, R is 1. The output is 0, telling that output is, the flip-flop is saving the 0, binary is 0. Now you see, so this is called reset. Here this is called reset. Flip-flop is saving 0. You see, when S is 1, R is 0. In that case, you see the output is 1. Output is 1 in the sense flip-flop is saving 1, which is nothing but the set state. The same thing happens here also. You see, S is 1, R is 0. The flip-flop is set, so we call it as a set state. So this is a set. Flip-flop is saving 1. These two are indeterminate. And you see this combination, the output Q plus is same as the Q. Here also you see the output Q plus is same as the Q. So whenever S is 0, R is 0, the present state and next state are not changing. Here also you see the S is 0, R is 0. The present state Q is also 1. The next state Q plus is also 1, not changing. So this we call it as a no change. This we call it as a no change. Okay. So this is the truth table for the SR flip-flop. And we also have one more table. We need to understand one more table called excitation table. In excitation table, you will be talking only on the present state Q, next state Q plus. With the knowledge of present state and next state, you will find what is the input S and R. Okay, so this is the excitation table. So 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. 4 possible combinations are there with the Q and the Q plus. Q is nothing but present state, Q plus is nothing but next state. With that, you have to find out what is the input value, possible input values S and R. So excitation table we are deriving only from the truth table. Okay. So you see 0 and 0. Whenever Q is 0, Q plus is also 0. So what are the places Q is 0, Q plus is 0? In the first row you can see Q is 0, Q plus is 0. Second row also you see Q is 0, Q plus is 0. So in these two rows you are seeing S is only taking the value 0, but R takes the value either 0 or 1. So we write S is confidentially 0, but R is don't care. It may either take 0 value or it may either take 1 value. Okay. Now the next one, 0, 1 combination. 0, 1 combination, Q takes the value 0 and Q plus takes the value 1 in the third row only. In all the other rows, it is not having that combination. Okay, you forget about the indeterminate combination. Indeterminate we are not going to use at all. Okay, so don't worry about indeterminate combination. Just only see this combination 0 and 1 at only one single place. So in that S's value is 1, R value is 0. So you will write it as 1 and 0. Next, Q is 1, Q plus is 0. Q is 1, Q plus is 0 is only in this combination. Q is 1, Q plus is 0 only in this combination. In that S is 0, R is 1. And finally 1 and 1. Q is 1, Q plus is 1. Q is 1, Q plus is 1 is in the 5th row and 7th row. So you see 5th row Q is 1, Q plus is 1. 7th row also Q is 1, Q plus is 1. In both these combination, R value is constant and it is 0 only. Whereas S value either takes 0 value or it takes 1's value. So we say S is don't care and R is 0. Okay, so this is all about the SR flip-flop. Okay, now the only disadvantage with respect to SR flip-flop is when both the inputs are 1, the output is having an indeterminate state. That is a disadvantage of the SR flip-flop. So to ensure both the input are not same, what we can do, we can just complement the input. Whenever what we can do, we can tie up S and R together with another NOT gate. Therefore, we can ensure always whatever S input is there, R input is a complement of the S input. So that kind of flip-flop is the D flip-flop. Okay. So D flip-flop is nothing but the same SR flip-flop only. You see, watch carefully how I am drawing. So first gate, second gate, third gate, sorry, this is first gate, second gate, this is third gate, fourth gate, Q output, Q bar output. So this is what you are having in the SR flip-flop. This top is S, bottom is R. The disadvantage of SR flip-flop is both the input should not be 1. So how can we overcome this particular disadvantage? By making both the input is taking two different values. So how can you do? You give only one input and you say the other input is the complement of the first input. So what you are doing is S and R, S input you are giving directly, R input is the complement of the S input. Therefore, always you are ensuring whenever S is 1, R is 0. Whenever S is 0, R is 1. Okay. So this one you are tying up together again using a NOT gate, single input NOT gate, single input NAND gate which will act as a NOT gate. Okay. So this input you call it as a D flip-flop. Okay. Now in D flip-flop, you are having only one input and one present state. So when you try to draw the truth table, Q is a present state, D is the input, Q plus is the next state. 4 possible combinations only with Q and D, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. As I have told you, input D is S input directly and the input to the second NAND gate is nothing but complement of the first input. So whenever you say D is 0, it means that S is 0 and R is 1. Okay, S is 0, R is 1, we know it's a set state, therefore Q is 0. Okay, sorry, R is 1, it is a reset state, reset value is 1, so Q is 0. When input is 1, it is a set state because S is 1, R is 0, complement of S only going inside. So then the output is set. So this is 0 again. Whenever D is 0, S is 0, R is 1. So set state, reset state, set state. Directly you can write. Okay. Otherwise, if you want, you can also work through this. Every stage you can work through. Otherwise, if you understand the basics of the SR flip-flop, D flip-flop is just a derivation from the SR flip-flop. Directly you can write. Okay. So here we are using not all the combinations. Here you are using either 1-0-1 combination or 1-0 combination only, because one input is directly given, other input is a complement of the one input. So complement in the sense we will not have this combination, we will not have this combination, or this combination. Therefore, we are eliminating the combination of 0-0 SR, 1-1 SR, so that we are not having the indeterminate state at all. Okay. So but we are restricting the input to be only one input. So whenever D is 0, it implicitly means that S is 0, R is 1. S is 0, R is 1. You know S is 0, R is 1. In spite of Q value, we are having output is 0 only. So that is what I have written here. When D is 0, the output is 0. When D is 1, you see here D is 1. It implicitly means that S is 1 and R is 0. S is 1, R is 0. In spite of present state, the output is always 1. You can see here. S is 1, R is 0. So that is what I have written here directly. So it is not depending upon the present state. The next state is directly the input. You can see Q plus is same as the input. So D flip-flop is also called as an delay flip-flop. So you need not worry about anything. If you want to delay some item, if you want to delay for a certain period of time, some operation, then you can introduce that input to the D flip-flop. What the D flip-flop will do, it will be waiting for the clock pulse and it will just give the output when the clock pulse is triggering it, the same output only. So we can use D flip-flop for that purposes. Okay. Now coming to the excitation table. As I told you, excitation table is nothing but present state, next state. With that we have to find out what is the input. Input is D. So present state and next state will have 4 combination. Okay, the input is, as I have told you, you can find from the truth table 0 and 0, 0 and 0, D is 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, D is 1, 1, 0, 1, 0, D is 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, D is 1. Okay, so this is very simple only, D flip-flop. Next is JK flip-flop. So what we did is in SR flip-flop, we are having indeterminate state. To overcome the indeterminate state, we are going for the D flip-flop. In that what we are doing, we are complementing the one input. So we are restricting the input to have only one single input line is there. Whereas in JK flip-flop, we will avoid the indeterminate state by having 2 input. Okay. So that is the difference. So the same thing only we are going to see here. This is a SR flip-flop. This is the SR flip-flop what we have seen initially. This is the S input, which is now we are writing it as a J input. This is R input, which now we are writing it as a K input. This is Q bar. Sorry, this is Q and this is Q bar. Now, what is the only difference? What you are going to do is, you are going to take this Q output to the first input side, which is coming under the NAND gate 2, and the Q bar output to the top side, which is coming under the NAND gate 1. So this is the difference. Okay. SR flip-flop only, but one more extra input is added. The first NAND gate is a 3-input NAND gate. Second NAND gate is also a 3-input NAND gate to avoid the indeterminate state which you are having in the SR flip-flop. Okay. So when you try to write the truth table for the JK flip-flop, you are having the present state, J and K. Next state is Q plus and Q plus bar. So you will be having 8 combinations. We'll be having 8 combinations. So I think I need not tell you all the combinations. We will just only understand the combination and one, because all the other combination is same as a SR flip-flop only. Okay. Whenever you are having both the input J and K is 1 and 1, over there in SR flip-flop we have seen indeterminate state, whereas here the state will be different. Okay. Here you will be having a useful state. Okay. So we will understand only this combination, whereas all the other thing are same as the SR flip-flop. So I will directly write the truth table output here. If you want, you can work out with this operation also. As I taught you SR flip-flop, what you have to do, you have to wait. If any input of the NAND gate is 0, you are confirming that output is 1. Okay. So otherwise, you should know all the inputs. Then only you will be defining the output. So two combinations. One is any input of the NAND gate, any single input is 0. Then you will directly declare. You need not worry about what are the other inputs. You will directly declare the output is 0. Otherwise, you have to wait and understand all the inputs are 1. Then only you will declare the output is 0. So these two combinations you will have to work. Okay. Otherwise, I will do one thing. I will give for the second combination. Say for example, J is 0, K is 1. J is 0, K is 1. I will teach you only this operation. Okay, J is 0, K is 1. We are sure about one input is 0. So we will directly write this output is 1. Whereas here, clock is always 1. Don't worry about clock. Here, we need to know what is the previous output. Because we are having two inputs are 1. But there is also third input. If third input is 0, the output may be 1. If third input is 1, the output may be 0. So we need to wait. We need to understand what is the previous state. So here, as we are talking on the second row, the previous state is 0. So as the previous state is 0, here the output will be 1. Okay. Now you can see, we know the previous state is 0. So 0 and 0 combination will give you 1 here, and 1 and 1 combination will give you 0 here. Okay, so here you will be having 0 and 1. Similarly, if you have the same combination here, this one, if you see 0 and 1 combination, 0 and 1 combination, the top NAND gate will give you answer is 1. Whereas bottom NAND gate will check for the third input. The third input here, Q is 1. So as you know, Q is 1, 1, 1, 1 combination will give you the output is 0. Now you need not worry about what is the previous state, present state, because at least one input is 0, automatically the output is 1. And this 1 and 1 combination will give you the output is 0 here. Okay, so here again you are having 0 and 1. Okay, so you see the same output is what we have got in SR flip-flop also. Here we are having S, here we are having R. Instead of S and R, we are having J and K state. That's it. Okay, so whenever J is 0, it is K is 1. It is a reset state. Reset in the sense the flip-flop is saving 0. You can see 0, 1 gives you Q plus is 0 and Q bar plus bar is 1. So here also 0, 1 combination, 0 and 1. 1, 0 combination is a set state. So you directly write it as set 1 and 0. Here also 1 and 0. 0, 0 combination is a no change state. I told you no change. So whatever is the present state will come as the next state. Present state is 0. The next state is also 0. Here 0, 0 input. Present state is 1. The next state is 1. No change condition. Okay. So if Q plus is 0, Q plus bar will be 1. Q plus is 1, Q plus bar will be 0. Now we need to understand only one input last combination, that is 1 and 1 combination. When J is 1, K is also 1. J is 1, K is also 1. We have to wait for the next input also, which is nothing but the Q. So you can see Q is 0. For this combination, let us say Q is 0. So Q is 0. Q 0 in the sense Q bar will be 1 obviously. So the top flip-flop will give you 1, 1, 1 combination will give you 0 here. Bottom flip-flop, one input is 0, the output will be 1 here. So what will happen? If any input is 0, the output will be 1. So Q will now become 1. This 1 will come here. Already 1 is present. 1 and 1 combination will give you 0. So Q is 1, Q bar is 0 for this combination. Okay. And this combination, if you see this combination, J is 1, K is 1, now Q is 1. So J is 1, K is 1, Q is 1. This output what we are taking here, Q is 1. Q is 1 implicitly means Q bar is 0. So here we have 0. Inverse combination. Okay. So what will happen? Input to the third flip-flop is 1. Input to the fourth flip-flop is 0. And output of the fourth, not flip-flop, NAND gate. Output of the fourth NAND gate will give you answer is 1 because one input is at least 0. It will give you 1 and this 1 and 1 combination will give you answer is 0. So here you will have 0, here you will have 1. So here what you need to understand, the difference between JK flip-flop and SR flip-flop is we are avoiding the indeterminate state. Okay, whenever J is also 1, K is also 1, we are no more having an indeterminate state. We are having a valid state. So Q is 1, Q plus is 0 or Q is 0, Q bar is 1. So we are having only valid state. Okay. So now as I told you, you recollect what is happening in the JK flip-flop. Whenever both the inputs are 0, 0, it's a no change state. No change state. Okay. No change in two conditions. In the sense, whatever is the present state, the same thing comes as the next state also. Here also you see present state is 1, next state is 1. Whenever J is 0 and K is 1, it is a reset state. Reset in the sense it is saving the flip-flop is saving value 0. Here also reset state. You see flip-flop is saving value 0. Whenever J is 1, K is 0, this place J is 1, K is 0. This place also J is 1, K is 0. It is a set state. Set in the sense it is saving 1. So you can see it is saving 1. Here also it is saving 1. Whenever both the inputs are on 1 and 1, in SR flip-flop we are having indeterminate state, but in JK flip-flop we are having a toggling. Toggling. Okay, so this state is a toggle state. So in toggle state, in the sense what you are having is, if the present state is 0, you can see the complement of the present state is the next state. If the present state is 1, you see the complement of the present state is the next state. This is what we call it as an toggle state. Okay. So now we come to the excitation table of the JK flip-flop. Excitation table, present state, next state, input is out. Okay, J and K. Present state and next state will take 4 different combination. So now check out 0 and 0. 0 and 0. Q is 0, Q plus is 0 in 2 places, first row and the second row. In both these places, J takes the value 0, K is different. K either takes 0 or 1. So we write J is always 0, whereas K is don't care condition. Next, 0 and 1. 0 and 1. Q should be 0, Q plus should be 1. So that is happening in the third place and also in the fourth place. Q is 0 and Q plus is 1. So in both these cases you see the J is 1 whereas K is changing. So we write J is 1 whereas K is a don't care condition. Next 1 0. 1 0 you see is in the 6th row and 8th row. 6th row Q is 1, Q plus is 0. 8th row also Q is 1, Q plus is 0. In both these cases you see K is 1 whereas J is different, either 0 or 1. So we confidently write K is 1 whereas J is don't care condition. And final combination 1 and 1. 1 and 1 is in 5th row and 7th row you see 1 and 1, 1 and 1. K is confidently 0 in both the cases whereas J takes either the value of 0 or 1. So we say J is don't care and K is 0. So this is the excitation table of the JK flip-flop. Okay. Now finally we are going to understand the T flip-flop. T flip-flop is nothing but the toggle flip-flop which is derived only from the JK flip-flop. Okay. So what we are going to do here is we are just going to tie up the J and K together to toggle the output. That is what we call it as an T flip-flop. Okay. So in the similar method, every flip-flop we are starting only from the SR flip-flop. Okay. So always you first draw SR flip-flop. From there you can draw any kind of the flip-flop. So you are generally drawing the SR flip-flop. Initially, this is clock. You are naming the gate 1, 2, numbering the gate as 1, 2, 3 and 4. This is the latch. The first output is Q. Second output is Q bar. This is SR flip-flop. From this we have drawn JK flip-flop by connecting Q output as a third input to the second gate and Q bar output as the third input to the first gate. Okay, this is JK flip-flop. Now, from this you will draw T flip-flop. T flip-flop is nothing but only one input in which J and K are connected together. So, J input and K input we are just tying up together to call it as a T flip-flop. The other name of the T flip-flop is nothing but a toggle flip-flop. T flip-flop is nothing but a toggle flip-flop. So, when you try to draw the truth table, T, Q, T and Q plus, this is the truth table. 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So, whenever you say T is 0, it implicitly means that J is 0 and K is 0. Okay. So, J is 0, K is 0. Whenever you say T is 0, J is 0, K is 0. J is 0, K is 0, no change state. I told you present input will be same as the next output is same as the present state. Here also you see next state is 1, present state is also 1. When both J and K are 0 and 0. So, T is 0, it means that no change state. So, whatever is the present state will be same as the next state. Say the next state is the same as the present state. So, in this combination also present state is 1. So, next state will also be 1. Next, when T is 1, it implicitly means J and K is 1. So, we know J and K are 1. It's a toggle state. I told you toggle state in the sense the next state is a complement of the present state. If the present state is 0, next state is 1, and if present state is 1, next state is 0. This is what we call it as a toggle state. Therefore, when T is 1, it implicitly means J and K is 1. Present state is 0, the next state will be 1, and present state is 1, the next state will be 0. So, this completes the truth table of the T flip-flop. Next is the excitation table. In excitation table, we will be having the present state. We know the present state and next state. We want to find what is the input. So, present state and next state takes 4 combination. So, 0 and 0, you see 0 and 0, only one place, T is 0. 0 and 1, one place, T is 1. 1 and 0, only one place, T is 1. 1 and 1, 1 and 1, T is 0. So, this is excitation table. This is excitation table, and this is the truth table of the T flip-flop. Okay. So, with this flip-flop is over, and now I want to tell you an important thing. What we have seen, 4 different flip-flops which is all triggered by the clock pulses. Okay, which is all triggered by the clock pulses. I have told you assume positive clock pulse. Okay, so this clock pulse is of 2 types basically. We will have either level triggered or we will have edge triggered. In level and edge triggered, we will be having positive level triggered, negative level triggered. In edge triggered also we will have positive edge triggered and negative edge triggered. So what I mean to say from this is, if you are taking the clock pulses, it will be like this, a square waveform, periodical square waveform. This is what we call it as a level. This end to this end, we call it as a level. So, if you have, say, if this is 0 and 1 volt, we say this is a positive level, and this 0, this level we call it as a negative level. So, this is the positive level, this we say negative level. So, whenever, what I mean to tell about the level triggering in the sense, as long as if I say a sequential circuit, this is a sequential circuit, it will be having some input and the clock pulses, and it will be having the output. Okay, so whenever we say positive level triggered sequential circuit or positive level triggered clock pulses, it means that as long as the clock pulse is having this positive level, whatever changes in the input is there, the sequential circuit will respond. Okay, till say for example 0 second, 5 second, 10 second, 15 second, if you are having a clock pulse like this. Okay, so this sequential circuit, what will happen is 0 to 5 second, that is total of 5 second your level is active. So this input, whenever there is a changes in the input between 0 to 5 second, for any changes it will be responding. From 5 to 10 second it is a negative level. So if you are designing a positive clock level, the circuit will not respond. Okay, again from 10 to 15 second the circuit will respond. So as long as the level is high, whenever we say positive level triggering clock pulse, it means that it will be the circuit, entire circuit will be triggered, or the circuit will be responding to any changes in the input as long as the clock pulse is positive. Okay, whenever we say negative level triggering sequential circuit, then this circuit will be active, or this sequential circuit will be responding to any changes in input for this entire negative level between 5 seconds to 10 seconds. Whatever changes is happening in this input, the corresponding changes will be happening in the output also, because as long as the clock pulse is active, whenever I say positive level triggering, it is at the positive, all the positive levels the clock pulse is active. Negative level triggering, for all the negative levels the clock pulse is active. Okay, now coming to the edge triggering, in the disadvantages of the level triggering in this here is if you are having a very lengthy pulses, then the input is changing very fast, you will be always having a changes in the output, there will be no stable output at all. Okay, so you should ensure that you are having a minimum width for the triggering. Whenever you are having for a clock pulses, you cannot have 0 to 5 seconds, you will be having only in nanoseconds triggering. Okay, otherwise what you can do is we can go for edge triggering. Edge triggering in the sense, the sequential circuit is triggered only there is a change in the clock pulse from 0 to high, low to high, we call it as an positive edges. So this is the edge of the clock pulse. Only at this point, only whenever the clock pulse is changing between 0 to high, that we call it as a positive edges. High to low, we call it as a negative edges. So this sequential circuit will give changes only when there is a change, only when the clock pulse changes between high to low, low to high. So it's only a fraction of nanosecond this thing will happen. Okay, so the sequential circuit will be always in the stable state. So this is the difference between level triggering and the edge triggering. Okay, so whatever flip-flops I have discussed so far is with respect to positive level triggering only I have told you. But if you want to design an edge triggering flip-flop, under that case you can go for a master slave flip-flop. Okay, so master slave flip-flop in the sense, one flip-flop will be acting as a master, flip-flop 1. There is another flip-flop will be acting as a slave. So actual input what we are trying to give, we will be giving only to the master. Say for example D flip-flop. Output of the first flip-flop, call it as Q1, will be the input of the second flip-flop, call it as Q. Okay, and here you will be having a clock. This clock will be positive level triggered for the master and negative level triggered for the slave. It means that whenever clock level is positive, the changes in the input will be reflecting only in the master, the slave will be inactive. Okay, whenever there is a negative level triggered, master is inactive, slave is active. So like here we are giving the direct input only to the master, Output of the master is connected to the slave, and we are taking the output from the slave only. Okay. So to understand this respective thing, let me draw with the timing diagram. Say our clock pulse is like this. Okay. Say for example, my D input is like this. D input in the sense this point. Okay, this is the D input like this. Now, as we know, master is positive level triggered. Positive triggered in the sense, as long as the clock is positive level, the master will respond to any changes in the input. As we all know, D flip-flop is nothing but the delay flip-flop. Whatever is there in the input will be given as the output. So, now Q1 output will be, the master will be waiting. The master is waiting till the clock. This is the point where the clock positive level is starting. Okay, this is the point where positive level is starting. Master will now try to respond to the input. Initially the input is 0. So till this clock pulse, the input is 0. Suddenly between the period itself, the input is changing. So master will now respond because the master is a positive level triggered only. So this is that. So from this point to this point, it's a positive level trigger. So within this period of clock pulse, there is a change in the input. So master will try to change the input. But slave will not at all respond during the positive clock pulse because slave is triggered with a negative clock. Okay. So till this point, slave will not at all do anything. Slave will be in the previous state only. It will not be active at all. Okay. Now, if you see slave output is Q, we will draw it as a Q. Now, at this point, what is happening? Slave will be triggered because we are having a negative clock. Now, master will stop responding to any input. Now, slave will start responding to its input. The slave input is nothing but the output of the master. So, this is the output of the master. What we are having here is the output of the master. Master will stop responding till any next changes. Master will stop responding. Now, slave will start to respond. Now, slave is responding in the negative level only. Now, slave, what it is saying? It is saying the input is Q1. D input of the slave is Q1. So, Q is high. So, at this point, slave will go to the high state. Okay. So, now, what is actually happening with the master slave flip-flop? Master is also level triggered. Level triggered in the sense, till this end to this end, whatever is the response, there is a change. Whatever change in the input, the master is responding accordingly. Similarly, slave will be responding during the negative level. Okay. Now, when you are having a master-slave combination or a combination something like this, you are having a negative edge triggering. Why do I say negative edge triggering? Because you can see here the slave is trying to respond exactly at this edges. You synchronize the clock pulse with that of the slave output. You will see slave is trying to respond at this point. So, this we call it as whenever clock is coming from high to low edge, we call it as a negative edge. Okay. Whenever clock is starting to come from high to low, then only slave is respond. As such, whenever you take a master slave flip-flop, we will not see anything other than this one. This will be like a black box. So, we need not worry about what is the internal connection. So, we give input, but at the negative edge only we will be getting the output, Q output. Okay. So, this we call it as a negative edge triggering flip-flop. So, if you want to design a edge triggering flip-flop, then you will go for a master slave flip-flop. If you want to do a positive edge triggering flip-flop, what you can do? You can trigger the master with the negative clock pulse and slave with the positive clock pulse. Then you have to waste one cycle. However, you will be getting a positive edge triggering flip-flops. Okay, so this is the use of the master slave flip-flop, right? So, with that, introduction to flip-flop is over. Next, we need to understand the shift registers. Okay. So, shift registers, we have seen flip-flop is a 1-bit memory, whereas register is also memory. If I say only one single register, it's a 1-bit flip-flop only. If I say 4-bit registers, then it is a combination of 4 flip-flops. Okay. So, like a shift register is a sequential circuit in which we are transferring the data from one binary number to the another binary number. Okay, so this sequential circuit circuit loads the data present on its input and then moves or shift it to the output once per every clock pulse. Hence the name shift register. Okay, so this is the definition of the shift register. So what are the components present in the shift registers are, we will be having a D flip-flop, because as I told you, we are not going to modify or do anything. We are just going to transfer the bit from, for every clock pulse, we are going to transfer the bit from one flip-flop to the another flip-flop. So we are not, so we will work only with the D flip-flop. Okay, all the registers will be having only D flip-flop, not any other type of the flip-flop. So we will work only with the D flip-flop, and we are connecting all the flip-flop in a serial type daisy chain arrangement. Daisy chain arrangement in the sense output of the one flip-flop act as an input to the another flip-flop. Okay, and we will be feeding data one after the another in right or left direction, or all together at the same time in parallel configuration. So if we are calling it as a serial shift register, then you will be having either right shifting or left shifting. Accordingly, you will be feeding the data in the left, or you will be feeding the data in the right. Or sometimes you may be having a parallel shift register in which you will be feeding the data in parallel. Okay. So one thing is, here we are talking on registers which is synchronous circuit. Therefore, the flip-flop, if you are having 4 registers, 4 flip-flops, then all the flip-flops should be triggered by the universal single common clock. This last point is very, very important. So what are the types of shift registers we are having? 4 different basic types. First is serial in serial parallel output. Second is serial in serial output. Third is parallel in serial output. Fourth is parallel in parallel output. So as the name implies, here in the first one, we are loading the register with the serial data one bit at a time, whereas we are taking the output in parallel. In the second combination, we are loading the data is also in serial, and we are taking the output also in serial. In third combination, loading the input together at the same time, but taking the data output one by one. That is the third one, parallel input and serial output. And finally, parallel input to parallel output is something but loading is also taking in parallel, unloading or taking the output is also happening in the same time. So what is the application of the flip-flop? The basics are registers. The basically register is nothing but a storage device. Okay, so data storage or moment of data stored before addition. Okay, for that also serial adder. If you are working with serial adder, you will be having shift registers. Okay, or if you want to have a communication between two computers, then you are going to do serial input, parallel output, and parallel input and serial output. So if I want to connect two computers, first computer with the second computer, computer output will be in serial, which we will be connecting, which will be converting to the parallel output, and that parallel to parallel, it will be traveling in the parallel combination only set of output. Then in the other side, parallel input will be converted into serial output. So this is an application. Now you see this here, this diagram gives you the data movement of how the serial input, serial output. You can see here, this is the serial data input, shifting. This is for example for 4-bit, and here you are having the serial output. Parallel loading in the sense you are loading input parallelly, taking the output parallelly. So if you say serial input, parallel output, your input alone is serial, output is parallel, SIPO combination. Parallel input, serial output, your input is parallel, PISO, input is parallel, output is serial. You will take output at this point. Serial input, serial output is SISO. So input is here, output will be here in this line, and parallel in parallel output, PIPO, input is here, output is here in this direction. Okay, so these are the 4 combinations you are having. So now let us start with the first combination, serial input, parallel output. So we are talking on the 4-bit register. 4-bit registers in the sense you will be having 4 flip-flop. So see here I am having flip-flop A, B, C and D, and as I have told you, all the flip-flop clock should be connected together to a universal clock. So you can see clock of A flip-flop, B flip-flop, C flip-flop and D flip-flop all are tied up together to a single clock pulse. And similarly the clearing also, initially you have to clear the flip-flop. So all the clearing in the sense making resetting. Okay, so all the clear input of the flip-flop will be tied up together as a common. Okay, and we know it is a serial in parallel output. So what we are doing is input is given only to the leftmost flip-flop. Okay, but we will be taking output parallelly. And first clock pulse we are giving the input. Second clock pulse, the output of the first flip-flop will be the input to the second flip-flop. In the third clock pulse, output of the second flip-flop will be the input to the third flip-flop. Fourth clock pulse, output of the third flip-flop will come to the input to the fourth flip-flop. So you can see the operation of serial in parallel output for the diagram what I have drawn there. Initially you set all the flip-flop to be reset, that is you clear all the input is equal to 0. Then all the output from the flip-flop A to D is set as 0. So once you are clearing, initially in the clock pulse 0, if you are clearing all the flip-flop, you have all the flip-flop output A, B, C and D is 0. Then in the first clock pulse, you give logic 1 only to the data input pin of flip-flop A. This is the data input pin of the flip-flop A. You give logic 1 only to this. Therefore, you will find output QA will be high. All the outputs are 0. And in the second clock pulse, third clock pulse and fourth clock pulse, you will find the data output of flip-flop B, C and D goes to high respectively. So here is the timing diagram you see. In the first clock pulse, you see first clock pulse, you see this one, you can easily understand first clock pulse, all the output are reset, so flip-flop output is 0. In the first clock pulse, you are giving data input only to the first input A flip-flop, so output of A flip-flop is 1, whereas B, C and D are 0. In the second clock pulse, what is happening? The output of this flip-flop is the input to the second flip-flop. So second flip-flop now becomes 1, whereas first flip-flop A, C, D is 0, B is 1. In the third cycle, you have C is 1, others are 0. In the fourth cycle, you have D is 1, others are 0. So slowly what is happening? Right shifting is happening from A to B, B to C, from C to D. So shifting from one clock pulse to the another clock pulse serially, and at the fifth clock pulse ultimately you are having the 0. So you are giving in the first clock pulse, it travels till the fourth clock pulse, as you are having only 4 flip-flop. If you are having 8 flip-flop, it will be traveling till the 8 clock pulse. Okay. So next, serial in, serial out. Here what we are doing is, we are not taking the parallel output. Instead, we are waiting for the serial output. So the only difference between that one and this one, here also we are having 4 flip-flop A, B, C and D. Clock is connected common. Clear will also be connected together. So you see, we are not taking the parallel output directly from every time. Instead we are taking the output only. Input in this end we are giving in the input. This end we are taking the output. So like this is the serial right shift register, because shifting from A to B, B to C and C to D. If you want to have a left shift register, what you can do? You give input to the D flip-flop, and the output of the D you give it to input of C. Output of C you give it to input of B, and output of B you give it to input of A, and take the output of A as a final output. So you are shifting left side from right side. You are moving towards the left side. It's a shift left register. Now what you are having in this diagram is a right shift register. You are starting from the leftmost point and traveling through the right point. So you can see every flip-flop output is connected to the input of the next flip-flop. So for every clock pulse, so first clock pulse you are giving the input to the D, whereas in the fourth clock pulse only you can take the output. Okay. Next, parallel input serial output. Parallel input serial output is the opposite to that of the serial input parallel output. Here we are loading the input parallelly at a time, but we are taking the output one by one only. Okay, that is the difference. So This is an example of the parallel input and serial output combination. So you see here we are introducing a multiplexer also. This multiplexer we are introducing because at a time we are loading, no? At a time we are loading the input, and for every clock pulse what will happen, first input will be given as a second input to the second flip-flop, and this will be given as an input to the third flip-flop, and this will be given as an input to the fourth flip-flop. So here you see the operation. The data is loaded into the register in a parallel format in which all the data bits enter their input simultaneously to parallel input pins PA, PB, PC and PD of the registers. Okay. The data is then read out sequentially in the normal shift register mode, shift right mode, from the register at a Q representing the data present at PA to PD. This data outputted one bit at a time on each clock pulse cycle in serial format only. This type of data register, a clock pulse is not required to parallel load the register as it is already present. But 4 clock pulses are required to unload the data. So after 4 clock pulses only you will be getting the output data. Finally is parallel in parallel output. Here we are loading and unloading parallelly. Okay. So here there is no shifting at all. So it will be working as in a single clock pulse. In a single clock pulse you will give the output. In the same single clock pulse you will be taking the input. So you see this configuration. You are having 4 independent input and 4 independent output. Okay. So here loading and unloading in a single clock pulse. There is no interconnection between the individual flip-flop. There is nothing is connected. You can see here. And since no serial shifting of the data is required, this is simple in configuration, and only one single clock pulse, everything is working. No. So this is also fast. And what we have seen so far is 4 different combinations. And there is one more register called as a universal register or bidirectional shift register. Here bidirectional shift register is because it will perform both shift right input, shift right output, parallel input and parallel output. So all 4 combinations in a single register, we call it as an universal shift register. This is how the configuration is. So here we are controlling which operation to do with the help of the multiplexer. Okay. So we are having a multiplexer, 4:1 multiplexer to give 4 combinations. And you see there are 4 D flip-flops. Okay. The input to the flip-flops are coming from the output of the multiplexer. Okay. Now you see the clock. Here it is mentioned as a clock. All these clock are connected together as a common clock. Here they have mentioned negative edge triggered clock. Okay. And there is also clear input. All the clear input is connected together. Okay. Now to understand this operation, you want to know how the multiplexer is configured. You all know that multiplexer 4:1 multiplexer in the sense you will be having 2 selection lines. Okay. So this selection lines will decide which input will come to the output. So now for this example I have configured the multiplexer like this. When selection line S1 and S0 are 0, hold in the sense don't do anything. Whatever is the previous state, let it be the same thing. When the selection line is 0, 1, perform shift right operation. I mentioned like this. Selection line is 0, 1, perform shift right operation. 1, 0, perform shift left operation. 1, 1, perform parallel mode operation. Okay. So what you need to understand is when selection lines are 0 and 0, first input will be active. First input of the multiplexer will be active out of the 4 inputs. 0, 1, second input will be active. 1, 0, third input will be active. 1, 1, fourth input will be active. So you carefully understand hold, shift right, shift left, parallel mode. So now you go back. When 0 and 0, hold. I told you it's a hold. So first input, that is 0th input, will be active for all the multiplexer. You see how I have connected the 0th input. Hold in the sense no change in the output. So this output, whatever A4 I am having, is connected directly to 0th line of the first multiplexer. A3 is connected to the 0th line of the second multiplexer. A2 is connected to the 0th line of this multiplexer. A1 is connected to the 0th line of this multiplexer. Okay. It means that Whenever S1, S0 takes the value 0, 0, only the 0th input will be given as the output. So I have drawn this as a no change condition. No change condition in the sense the previous output will be retaining, the D flip-flop will be retaining the previous state. So we are directly connecting the output as the input through by giving it to the 0th line of the multiplexer. And the second configuration is 1 0 0 1 0 1 shift right operation. Okay, shift right operation in sense now it has to perform right shifting. What do I mean by right shifting? From this flip flop it has to go to this flip flop. From A4 it will go to A3, A3 it will go to A2, and A2 it will go to A1. So we need to give the input to the leftmost flip flop only. Whenever I say 0 1, then the first input will be active. Of the every multiplexer, first input will be active. So you see here I am giving the leftmost bit, serial input bit here for this flip flop, and you see this output is connected to the input of this flip flop through first line. This output is connected to the input of this flip flop through first line. This output is connected to the input of this flip flop through the first line. Okay, so sorry. Now I will repeat this once again. Whenever we are having 0 1 0 1 combination, we will be having the multiplexer first second line of the second input or first input of the multiplexer will be, every multiplexer will be active. Okay, so you can see carefully how it is connected. We have configured it for serial right shifting. Right shifting in the sense this output will go here, this output will go here, this output will go here. In this flip flop, input is the input externally we are giving. Output of this flip flop is the output we are externally taking. So you see external input for right shifting we are giving here directly, whereas for this one is connected with the output of the previous flip flop. And this multiplexer one, first line of the multiplexer is connected to the output of the previous flip flop. Similarly, this one is connected to the previous flip flop. So this performs a shift writing operation. Next is 1 0. 1 0 I have configured it to be shift left operation. So 1 0 of the selection line, every second line of the multiplexer will be active. Now we have to perform the shift lefting operation. Shift lefting operation in the sense from A1 it will go to A2, from A2 to A3, and from A3 to A4. So now you see I am giving the input on the rightmost side. My input is in the rightmost side. See here, serial input for shift left operation. I am giving it to the second flip flop. Now you have to connect A1 to A2. So how are you connecting this A1? You take this one, connect it to the second input of this multiplexer. A2 you take it from here, connect it to the second input of this multiplexer. A3 you take it from here, connect it to the second input of this multiplexer. This will perform the serial input in left shifting. Okay. Next, finally, configuration is parallel mode. Parallel mode in the sense parallel input. So whenever both 1 and 1 are there, parallel input will take place. So when both 1 and 1 are there, all the third line of the multiplexer, all the multiplexer will be active. So third line I am directly giving it to the parallel inputs. You see here, I1 is connected to the third line, I2 is connected to the third line, I3 is connected to the third line, I4 is connected to the third line. Okay, so this is the operation of the bidirectional shift register, which we also call as an universal register, because it is able to perform shift right operation, shift left operation, and also the parallel operation. Okay, so we will stop with this for this particular session, and we'll continue with the concepts in the next video lecture. Okay, thank you.